Okay, so Andy's been like our guy who puts everything together. So what Jackie was talking about, we do all this stuff with spatial data and processing, and that map that she shows you is just not a colorful picture printed off on a sheet of paper. It's actually a digitized, there's data there, right? Every pixel in that picture has data associated with it, and then it gets fed into the computer to control the machine. So it's like, I wanted to show you this part because it's not just magic, right? It's not just like, oh, I don't feed this like piece of paper into a slot and something happens. There's actually computer components that are integrated with the machine, and Andy's going to tell you how that works.
So on our tool arm that we have here, tool arm is completely hydraulic controlled. We've got our joystick to control it, and prior to adding the ag leader system to it, you had a switch that you increased or decreased, and it was a fixed rate for your speed of the paddles, speed of cutters, or whatever you were running. By putting the ag leader system on, we put a liquid flow control module on. Your monitor is your interface. That's where we take our prescription map. We download our prescription map into the monitor. From there, the monitor talks to the liquid module. The liquid module is what processes our prescription. And from there, the signal comes out of the module and goes into a PWM valve that controls the speed. PWM stands for pulse width modulation. Basically what that is a hydraulic valve. It gets a signal sent to it and it chirps. The faster it chirps, the more hydraulic oil goes out to the system to spin the paddles faster. The slower it chirps, the less hydraulic oil comes out. It's a more accurate way of controlling hydraulic flow than, say, a servo valve, or most of you are familiar with a brand hand control valve. So the hydraulic system takes over from there. So when we drive in the field and we come across those thresholds of our different rate zones, the GPS correlates with the liquid module as we're driving, and it knows we're at X point, change the rate. It'll increase our flow rate or decrease our flow rate accordingly. Same principle is applied on the grape harvester to spin the rods faster or slower. Exactly the same thing for lime spreader, fertilizer spreader, planters, anything like that you're looking to increase or decrease a rate with a hydraulic system. Build your configuration, you have offsets that you configure to tell it where your application zone is. So our application zone is right here. Our GPS bubble would be on the cab or on top of the tool arm. So you tell it what that offset is, so it knows in the monitor what that space is ahead, and then from there you can fine tune it with look aheads, how many seconds to turn on, how aggressive you want it to be. So once you do your main setup, then you can fine tune it to make sure that when you come out of the row, it either shuts off or goes to a null rate, and then when you come back in, it goes back.
Terry just asked what does all this cost? And there are a lot of different options for the level of technology you buy and what that means for you going forward. So I think a lot of that's important to keep in mind as you get started. So essentially what you need is, to get started, is you need some data. So you need a sensor, you need to know where that sensor is, so you need GPS, and you need a way to record that data, so you need a data logger. So the initial system with the NDVI is a really good place to sort of envision the basics of what you need, because that's all that it provides. It doesn't provide anything in addition to the bare minimum of what you need. What you see right here, right now, is actually a little bit more advanced than the bare minimum. So on top of the Gator, there's a GPS unit that is going to be in the neighborhood of $2,000 to $5,000, depending on what you get unlocked and what level of technology that you have. So the nice thing about that is the price of that keeps coming down. So that one was relatively affordable compared to, say, 5 years ago, with most of the technology already unlocked. But that being said, you only need a $50 or $60 GPS, maybe $90 for a little bit more robustness to get what you really need. That particular NDVI sensor would actually come with a GPS now, and that would be an investment of about $9,000 for the GPS that comes with the data logger and the sensor itself. The only problem with that data logger is that that's literally all it is a data logger. So the advantage of it is as you get larger and as you use it a lot, you won't be dedicating something like your $6,000 tractor computer to just logging data. The disadvantage of it is when you want to take that data and you want to actually do something with it, you're still going to have to go out and buy the tractor computer. So it really is just about understanding what the capabilities of the technology are and what you plan on doing in the future and how you plan on spending money to get up and running. So there are just different options. Suffice to say, when you buy something from Ag Leader or a company like Ag Leader, think of it as a tractor that can be used on, a lot of those expenses can be used across multiple implements. And so the first thing you do is going to be relatively expensive, and then it's going to be much more affordable to do 2 production practices or 3 rather than just 1.
Okay, so I see this as something that's integrated with a vineyard, a mechanized vineyard system, right? So we used to hand prune every vine, we saw every vine, we pruned it accordingly. I mean, that is the ultimate precision agriculture, a human looking at a vine, but it's high labor costs. The quantity and quality of labor that we have in the area has gone way down. I just got back from California, Central Valley, same problem. They're all like, where's the labor? And it's no good anymore, and we need machines. And the problem with the machines is it's not selective, right? It's as low as precision ag as you go to. You take a machine, you run it through the vineyard, everything's pruned the same, everything's run the same, but we know that the environment, the soil changes, the vines change. So we're applying uniform management to a variable system. So I see this as that helps that solution with mechanization. So my labor costs are really high. I'm bringing those labor costs down really low because I'm using machines. Now I'm adding some variable rate technology on top of it so I can balance my vineyard. So the goal of viticulturists around the world, balance your vines, right? And we have to do a variable rate. Overcrop vines, I lose money. Undercrop vines, I lose money. Balance vines is where I make my most money. And what we're trying to do in this project is to balance that whole vineyard. And as Kevin was saying, it takes time for that to happen. So if I have mostly overcrop vines, I lose money this year, and now my crop potential's gone down, I lose money next year. Same thing with undercropped. I lose money this year because I don't have enough crop. Maybe the vines do grow and I do better next year. If the vines are balanced, I'm hitting a yield target that's appropriate for that vineyard, and I'm coming back with enough growth that I'm going to have that same crop potential the next year. So over time, I'm getting more uniform yield, higher quality fruit if that vineyard is balanced. And so really all the science is behind making that happen. Reducing labor costs in terms of integrated mechanization system, and then balancing that vineyard for viticulture soundness. And in the end, from an economic standpoint, that's what we're trying to get at. Okay, so just from a grower perspective, so Tom has gone from, the free scans from the lab to I'm addicted and I've bought everything and I'm running it myself.
Most people here know who I am, Tom Betts. We have 185 acres of Concord grapes in Westfield, and it's just myself, my dad, and my mom. And they look to slow down every year, and this Precision Tools has helped me speed up our practices and do it more accurately. We wouldn't be farming the way we're farming now without the Precision Tools, and just little things like we just got done no-till seeding our cover crop. We marked where all of our trees were in the vineyard, which supposedly good farmers don't have them, but every farm I see there's trees poking out of the top wire. And it's nice to be able to just literally push a flag button and then it's saved that location, and you can take a four-wheeler and we can cover about 60 acres in a half a day just cutting out trees, and that's one person. So just little things like that you save time, save money. You can guide your employees. My dad was weed spraying this year, and he weed sprayed 3 times the speed I thought he was gonna, but the sprayer put out the right amount, and then that way it was done correctly, and you can also keep track of your employees when you have the stuff running.